Hello. We'll start with a little bit of morph candy here. This is sunset, 30th of December, 2000, the penultimate day of the 20th century. And we are off to meet the Millennium. Walking backward into the future here. It's not every day that every step you take brings you closer to the next century and the next millennium in a perceptible degree of measurement. And there it is. This is the sunset of the 30th of December, year 2000. The penultimate day of the 20th century and the second millennium. The last light that will belong entirely to the 20th century, because tomorrow's daylight on the 31st is compromised. So this is the real thing. This is the swan song of the old era that we have lived our entire lives in. Every footfall I make is a measurable portion of the remainder of this current mind-bogglingly long age that has included the Dark Ages, the Voyages of Discovery, the Renaissance, the Industrial Revolution, and all of the modern age. This is a humongous, incomprehensibly long period of time, and we're going to watch the sun set on it in just a few minutes. We're going to see an age come to an end. And you can't do that every day. You can't do that every lifetime. 30 generations, give or take, depending on future environmental conditions, until we could do this again. So this is a big deal. And we're getting down with the old millennium, and then in a day or so, when the sun rises on New Year's Day, up with the new, so to speak. This is the very, very, very late 20th century. Which means, and get ready for some counting, this is the very, 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 very late second millennium. That was 10 times as many varies for the millennium as for the century. So for you arithmetically minded folks watching this, you'll understand why I did very many varies. And even that was a measurable proportion of what remains of the 20th century. This is cool. Time freaks unite. Won't be able to do this again. It is a time to focus on the big picture, on the fundamental challenges of humanity, the matters of our planet itself, whose movement on its axis is being recorded here by this view of the setting sun, going down on every piece of the lives that all of us have led and all of our forebears for as far back as we typically count. What will the world look like as we evolve into the new century, which itself is a mind-bogglingly long time, or the new millennium that begins during the night that will begin with this sunset? It could be a different planet, a different humanity. Be a lot of different people and creatures here, including a lot of extinct creatures, unfortunately. So, while it still is here, in this time, in this space, in the here and now, let's try to soak up as much of it as we can. So, what I will do is sit down in some nettles and hopefully avoid any rattlesnakes and lizards. Go into a lotus stance, take a deep breath, spit out that Ricola Pearl, product placement, remember to send a check, and Ah, this is the age of technology and nature. And they both have their place. And all is well with the world. At least for now. Hey, I can't see anything. That last sun of the 20th century, just as strong as all the other suns. Well, we're off to meet the Millennium some more. It's still happening. Hey, great shadows.
Hey, hold on.
Let's see, let's combine shadows here. Let's see. Either this is Jesus Christ, or that Leonardo guy on the bow of the Titanic, or maybe, just maybe, it's Greg Wright. That's Greg W. Wright, since we've just been through an election that made someone with that letter the leader of the free world. But I'm the leader of my world, and you, dear viewer, are the leader of your world. We are each the center of a universe, and wherever we are, we're here, as Baba Ramdas said, and we're right now, which happens to be late in the 20th century, as I pointed out earlier. So, we're going to take a little walk now and head out on the ridge. Oh, hey, get that beautiful. Oh, yes. Moving through time. And space. Happy New Year. And Happy New Century. I guess you could just call me your host to the new century. You're a time conductor, the man with a mission, a space-time vector. At least when I don't veer off of the old path.
You pass.
Oh, pass now. And even a bit of an elf on occasion. Here too, as you might want to move to the left, David, and then get a silhouette of the rider with the sun right behind her.
Why don't you relate to the horse?
Yeah, can I say hi to the horse?
Sure.
What is the horse's name?
Quasar.
Hi, Quasar. That's a bit of a quasar right out there. Might be a quasar one of these days.
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
Did you see the moon last night?
Yes, it looked like the flag of Turkey with a star next to probably Venus.
That was Venus.
Yeah, me calling it a star.
Get a
planet.
little
Come
closer.
on, give him a good.
Hi, Quasar. Like to kiss
tell
people?
Him, tell him, yeah, kiss, kiss.
Hi. Hi, Quasar. Ah, very nice. Hi, Quasar. Happy New Year.
He never let anybody else kiss him before.
Oh,
really?
that was beautiful. I was afraid he was going to get his face bitten off.
Well, we're doing firsts at the last. I guess we should keep the camera on entirely to the very end of daylight. So, we're running into the millennium. We're running through the last light that belongs entirely to the year 2000. And with it, the second millennium, the 20th century.
Okay, let me go in front of you.
Okay? And then I will, then after you're in front of me, I will then slowly move in front of you again so you can have me and the setting sun in the same shot.
This is a much better exposure.
Oh, okay. Every step we take brings us closer to the future.
But don't race me. Don't race me.
Of course, that's always true. But right now, it's more true than usual.
Let me go in front of you.
Oh, look at that great shot. In fact, maybe a shot of me like that. There's a man walking into the future right there with his dog. That's going to make a great shot. That could be a postcard. Oh, with this little tree right here, too. And a helicopter going overhead. Is this
I need to get closer to you for the sound.
Is this a conjunction of things or what?
This is good. Talk.
So, oh, we got a horse coming by too. Cool, great silhouette. Oh, And dogs and people and setting sun. End of the century, end of the millennium. What more could you ask for? Well, money. We could ask for money, but we'll take what we got right now, which is really cool.
You know,
This
I gotta
is-
get in front of you right now.
This is much prettier than the sunset on the 30th of December a year ago. This is a very pretty one. We have lucked out. We're doing well. And
Now,
may
let me
the...
get it on the other side again.
Okay. I would say, why don't we just walk fast? Oh, because the light's on me. That way.
I could turn it off right now. We could just run.
Okay.
Okay.
We're moving through space and time. We're moving through space and time through the last light that belongs entirely to the year 2000, the 20th century, and the third millennium, or I think that second millennium. I guess I get my millennia crossed right now because kind of like, who knows which footstep's going to take me into the new one. It's going to probably be within 1,000 or 2,000 footsteps that I'll be taking my first step into the new era, which arrives locally at 4 a.m. But that'll be late at night here. It'll be party time over on the other side of the world for the people down under, the people who are at this angle relative to us. And at this angle, pointing that way and their heads pointing down and that way and this way. But we're in the Western Hemisphere. And we will bring in the new age at the end of tomorrow. But we're making the very best use we can of the time we've got left in the 20th century by recording this incredible movement through space and time and light and consciousness. This is the last light of a period of time that has lasted a very, very, very long time. It has seen the Dark Ages, the Crusades, the fall and then rise of the West, the rise and fall of the East, the voyages of discovery, the Renaissance, the Reformation, the Industrial Age, the transformation of the surface of the Earth, a skyrocketing population from some fraction of a billion, just maybe 10 million, to the 6.2 billion that it will be within a year of this moment. And maybe a transformed Earth with weather that's radically different, first very hot and then very cold. The death of many species, along with the death of every individual now alive. 30 generations or more will pass before we see another transition from 10 centuries to their successor, which we are doing virtually with the sunset that you will now see behind me. As the sun sets on the 30th and penultimate day of 2000, the 20th century of the Christian or common era, and the second millennium of that era. We are meeting the millennium.
Let me get a shot.
Okay, the very last shot should be of the sun as a little point of orange light sinking into the muck of time. The ball of the sun as it becomes a little tiny sphere of orange light and then a little dot sinking into the muck of history as the light fades on the 20th century and second millennium of the common era of human history and the human enterprise on planet Sol 3. May we all enjoy a soulful third millennium. All of us people and all of us creatures and every other conscious entity, being, and good interest on the good planet Earth and beyond as we move into the new era and the new millennium. That was a pretty neat conclusion, I think, I hope. We'll walk on to the yonder promontory and watch the last light as it changes through a series of pinks and purples and salmons and lavenders and cerulean blues and deep reds and violets, and finally the eternal darkness of a very long night.
Talk. Go this way.
Oh, just get the...
Yeah, come a little.
Actually,
Stop.
I'll make some musical selection suggestions to overlay the rest of this video of the sun setting.
But it's a very beautiful shot, so say some relevant things.
Well, this is the end of the end of the end. The end of the sunset period, which ends the final day that belongs entirely to the period of time known as the year 2000, the 20th century, and the second millennium. It's all about conclusions at this point, although I hope and I trust it will be about some new beginnings in the period of historic time that will begin when the sun rises again tomorrow, on a day that will be 1 in 30 generations that consists of light coming in from 2 centuries and 2 millennia. It'll be a time of profound ends and beginnings, of finality and commencement, of change, in other words. Even as the sky changes in front of us and our bodies change within us, as we move into a future in which I hope we have the intelligence and the goodwill and the desire and compassion that will impel us to do our best, each of us, to create a world that's healthy, happy, beautiful, wonderful, and interesting and surprising for all of us.
Stand over here and face me now.
And by all of us, I mean all of us humans of all kinds, and all of us creatures, human and non-human, and interests that are not even embodied in beings. The earth itself, as a beautiful gem hanging in the universe, the only one of its kind we know of, a fabric of life and of history and of future possibility, a wonderful ecology in the latter part of a rare interglacial period of the most favorable and beautiful weather that creatures like ourselves could hope to inhabit. Let's live in a way that keeps that preserved for as far into the future as possible, because I, for one, like this world. I like the world as it's been in the second millennium, the last 1/20th of it that I've seen, and I'd like to see it preserved so that just in case there's reincarnation, I can come back to a world that's not a junkscape and not a poverty-stricken, destitute, miserable, desperate place, but a place of beauty where I can flower and everybody can flower around me. And we can enjoy many more sunsets. Because this planet's going to keep spinning for a very long time. The question that we're dealing with is, what will be on this planet as it continues its spinning and its voyage around the sun? Year after year, decade after decade, century after century, millennium after millennium. If we were to start right now and go for the next, I believe, 18 and 3/4 minutes at a second a year or a year a second, we would not be through the millennium for between 1/4 and 1/3 of an hour at the rate of 1 year a second. That's how big a millennium is. And it's that many seconds that will usher the curtain down, pretty literally, from this position, on that same period of time. The millennium known as the second millennium. Only 2 of them so far, if you don't count those BC ones, and we're not going to count them because we don't even know that much about them. Besides, we're here and now. As Baba Ramdas said, be here now. Or no, what he also said was, wherever you are, You're right here. And we're here, and we're now. A now that's not going to be a now much longer, because it's going to be the very epitome of history. When people say 19th century, that's almost like the same thing as saying the far past. Well, when people say the 20th century, already are saying it as if it was the far past, and it sounds like the far past. Any century with an "uth" on the end, a "th," sounds way gone. We're going into the 21st century. But the thing is, it's still the 20th century. If I had to hold my breath until the 21st century, even though it's so close I can almost touch it, I couldn't make it. That's how much of the 20th century is left. A lot. The present is a big place. It's even got sunlight, although the sunlight is fading as I speak. If we had a light-o-meter present, the needle would be moving down the scale as I speak. But all kidding aside, let's not put all kidding aside. We're having fun. I'm having fun. David here is having fun. The sun's having fun. And what's more, the sun rhymes with fun. On planet Sol 3, a nice place to be, if you ask me, and you can quote me on that. And you can quote God on that. Ooh, good job. Now here is some fast movement through time and space. Oh, yeah, get the lady one first. That's okay. Moving through time and space, I see. That's Quasar the horse. And up there is Luna the moon. I wonder if tomorrow, when that sun that's shining is shining from both the 21st and 20th centuries, what century will the moon be in? Now that's a good question. One of only temporary import, but still an interesting point to consider. I guess the man in the moon will have to decide. Or maybe it's the woman in the moon. Don't want to be sexist here on the eve of the 21st century, do we? Oh, here comes a pooch moving through time and space. Let's get the pooch moving through space and time. Every step the dog takes brings it and we closer to the 21st century. Hi, girl. Hi, boy. Just not being sexist here and hedging my bets. How you doing? Hi, pooch. Oh, nice doggy. I like pooches. I like all of my quadruped friends. Pooches and puppies, kitties and kittens, birds and beasts, and fish. Well, I eat fish, so I really like them.
You don't eat chow mein?
Oh, now and then. But, you know, that old monosodium glutamate sometimes doesn't agree with my large intestine, a.k.a. the colon.
Pooches could be very delicious.
Oh.
So can horse meat.
Well, we had some cats who used to eat horse meat. I think I even tried it once. Don't recall what I thought of it. Yes, we're living in the land of memory, time and space that soon will be only a two-dimensional artifact in innumerable photographs and paintings and drawings and other capturings of time and place. And sound, digital and analog, and books. This whole era is just going to be stuff piled up in buildings and libraries and maybe a few subterranean spaces. But it will not be something that we can breathe and feel and move around in and reflect light off of in, or watch horses go by in, or eat food in, or excrement that food later. It'll just be basically two-dimensional information and memory, which is why we're here tonight. Or today. Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning. We're 24/7 around here. We act globally and think globally.
Shall we turn it off?
Let's see. Let's let the light fade on the old 20th century a little further. In fact, I think we should do is maybe put it into a different mode, like where it records one frame every several seconds, or something like that. We can speed that up later.
Yeah, you could do whatever you want.
Oh, okay, sure. Like me to hold it?
No.
I'll just stand still and let it play out. In fact, let's get some of this tree branch in the foreground. That'll look cool. If I get down like this. Yeah.
Okay.
You want me to hold it or do you want to hold it?
No, it's fine.
Okay. There it is. Last light. You know, last year when I was standing a little ways further down here, and I suddenly realized we could have brought a video camera but didn't, and I suddenly got bummed, and I absentmindedly pulled a piece of paper towel out of my pocket, and I started cleaning my glasses, and I put 2 scratches on the right lens in my distracted state of mind that are still there to this day. Maybe you can see them, or maybe you can't. But anyway, part of my resolve to get back here a year later, and we're doing it. Ooh, and we're getting some nice pink, purple salmon up there. Oh, great!
You've got 14 minutes.
Let's go it right to the end, David.
14 minutes on the battery.
Okay, let's go to the end of, if we can, let's go to the end of the 14 and just keep a stable shot on the sky. On a scale of 10, I would call this sunset maybe a 7, maybe a 7.5. But on the calendric scale of deep time,
this is gorgeous.
This is not a 10, but 100. Make that 1,000. A millennium. And the end of an age.
Beautiful.
Yeah, this is nice.
What time is it?
It's the end of the 20th century. That's what time it is.
Hey kids, what time is it? You want to say that?
Oh, wow, nice. Oh, this is much nicer than December 30th, 1999. Those are the shrouds of time. The wings of angels. The vestments of messengers from the far future and the deep past. The sedimentary layer that is this additional year, this added century, and this completed millennium unfolding before us. And I'm grateful, I really am. Thanks for coming out here, David. This is good. The 30th of December, 2000. Goodbye, 20th century. improve on that and make an even neater, better, happier 21st century.
No, keep looking. That's right, right there.
Some music by Saint-Saëns, or Mussorgsky, or Dvorak, or perhaps Tchaikovsky or Gounod.
Oh, Donovan.
Or there's a lot of things that could be laid over this view. Music from all parts of this great period of 1,000 years that's setting in front of our eyes. The crickets are getting louder. The sky is getting dimmer. The light is fading. And night is replacing day. The night with whose arrival and the banishment of which day, carrying away a lot of neat people and persons that we've known and I've known. Stutz Bearcat. We're leaving the century I shared with him, and with Squeak, and Herkimer, and Hepzibah, and many wonderful other kitties I could name, having been a friend of felines all my life, and my grandparents, and some friends, including Kristen and Vincent, people who left before their time, who weren't here to see this.
You could stand up and keep talking. I want to get the final rays.
These are the final rays, and we should capture the final rays. What beautiful color. Perhaps Van Gogh would enjoy seeing this sunset. Or Monet
You
or
have to stay
Manet.
close to me. Say that again.
Or Monet or
No,
Manet.
perhaps Van Gogh.
Or perhaps Van Gogh should be here to see this sunset. A lot of brilliant artistes over a lot of years have put ink and paint to canvas and paper to record stuff like this. The multitude, the infinity of tens of thousands of sunsets that have preceded this one and yet been part of this same age, and which are now all but a prelude to the final sunset of them all. And we're the final artistes, we're the final painters of the final sunset of a long history of human expression, and in this case, paintings that show sunsets. Kinda cool. In fact, that sunset's making a real nice reflection on the front of the lens. I just reminded myself, I've got this camera in my pocket. I should have pulled this out earlier. I'm going to grab one snap just in case it comes through. Yikes, I haven't opened it yet. This is what you call very last minute. The just-in-time crew strikes again. Here we go. Last light. Last light plus. Maybe I can get the moon in there. Yeah, that's an idea. Turn your head so I can see the light through your left lens of your glasses. Yeah, that's good. Slightly to the right. Perfect. Right there, right there, right there. Good. See if that comes out. Well, the last light of the 20th century.
That's it, here it goes. I thought that was tomorrow.
Nope, tomorrow it's compromised. Tomorrow's light will be half 20th and half 21st century.
Oh, I see.